Hey everybody, what's up? Today we're going to take a look at what is probably the most recent serial killer case that's come into the public eye. His killings were committed in early to mid-March of 2022, so chances are you may not even have heard of this case. You'll be glad to know that he has been caught and charged with multiple homicides, as well as some other lesser but still very serious crimes relating to the victims he thankfully failed to kill. I'm going to fill you in on the details in this video, exactly what happened in these murders, his identity, background, criminal history, and of course how this guy was caught quite recently. We've even got footage of the moment he was taken down by police. But real quick, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that red button down there. And don't forget to leave a like before this video ends. Your interaction with my content, whether it's suggestions, comments on the case, or just that thumbs up click, helps out a lot to grow the channel and get these videos in front of more eyes. Now let's get into it. Starting back in March 2022, multiple homeless men were shot and killed in separate attacks in Washington, D.C. and New York. At least 2 homicides and several attempted killings have been linked to this killer so far, but police strongly suspect he is responsible for at least one other fatal shooting. The killer is suspected to have stalked and shot at least 5 different men. Naturally, this sparked a fierce manhunt that has been ongoing since then. The earliest known shooting happened at around 4 a.m. on March 3rd in Washington, when a man was shot and wounded in the city's northeast section. A second man was wounded on March 8th, just before 1:30 a.m. This shooting was luckily caught on surveillance video and captured the man yelling, "No, no, no, and please don't shoot," after a gunshot was fired. This victim was lucky and only sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Roughly 24 hours after the second shooting, a man was found dead inside a burning tent. He was initially thought to have suffered fatal burns, but an autopsy revealed he had actually died of multiple stab and gunshot wounds. The suspect was caught on surveillance video pouring gasoline into a cup at a gas station nearby about 30 minutes before he was discovered. All 3 shootings took place within 2 miles of each other, with the first and third only half a mile apart. 3 hours after the body inside the tent was found on March 9th, the suspect allegedly boarded a train at Washington's Union Station and made his way to New York City, where he was seen on surveillance footage at Penn Station in Manhattan on March 12th. The 4th attack took place at about 4:30 a.m. that day, when a 38-year-old man sleeping on the street was shot in the arm. When the suspect fired at him, he woke up and yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" This quick-thinking victim probably saved his own life when he pretended to call 911. He put his finger to his ear despite not having a phone, fooling the gunman into thinking that law enforcement was on the way. The man fled the scene and went on to fatally shoot another man in Manhattan's Soho neighborhood 90 minutes later. The unidentified victim was found dead of gunshot wounds to the head and neck inside his sleeping bag. According to the New York Times, he may have shot a 6th person while a vigil was held for the earlier victims, although that has yet to be confirmed. The man behind these ruthless crimes is Gerald Brevard, age 30, and he was charged with first-degree murder while armed, assault with a dangerous weapon, and assault with intent to kill on May 10th of 2022. This accused homeless serial killer was slapped with murder charges after he was captured at a Washington, D.C. gas station following his deadly 9-day crime spree. The arrest was caught on security video from a gas station and shows agents with guns drawn confronting Brevard and ordering him to lie face down on the ground. He complies and is immediately surrounded by law enforcement officers who put him in handcuffs without an incident. His arrest came after the mayors of both New York City and Washington, D.C. released a close-up photograph of the male suspect they believe to be responsible for the cold-blooded killings and shootings. Crystal clear images of the male suspect's face were shared on the evening of May 9th in a joint press conference chaired by the mayors of New York and Washington, D.C., as well as the chiefs of police from both cities. Video footage of the suspect strolling down a D.C. street on March 9th, the evening of the murder in that city, was also shared. At a press conference last Monday in New York, cops revealed that they suspected the same weapon had been used in the shootings in both cities, thanks to forensic examination of the shell casings. Police identified and arrested Brevard in Washington early Tuesday after a tipster who knew him called and provided his name, telephone number, and Instagram profile. Brevard had posted photos on Instagram showing him wearing a black quilted jacket, similar to what was worn by the suspect in two of the shootings, and phone records allegedly confirmed Brevard had been in Washington and New York City when the shootings occurred. His motives remain unknown, but according to his family's comments, he does appear to suffer from some form of mental illness. Brevard's father was reported as saying the following in what must have been a heart-wrenching statement for him to make. He's a good person, and like many across the world, he suffers from mental illness. The bigger picture is not that he has mental illness, but the number of times that he's been within the judicial system and how the system has failed regarding the treatment of so many, including my son. Brevard's aunt Sheila is likewise reported as saying he has been in and out of the judicial system, spent time in prison, and that the authorities were aware of his mental illness but had not properly treated it, and insisted that he is a good person despite his long rap sheet dating back over a decade. And from what I can tell, he actually does have quite a lengthy criminal history, dating back some time. In September of 2016, he was charged with destruction of property, a misdemeanor, but this was later dismissed. In July of 2018, things got a bit more serious when he was arrested on an assault with a dangerous weapon for allegedly attempting to stab someone with a knife, and in the following year he was found mentally incompetent to stand trial, which ended with only a brief stay in a psychiatric hospital. In December of 2020, things escalated further when Brevard was arrested in connection with a string of incidents including robbery and sexual assault in Virginia. He had allegedly accosted a woman on December 3, 2020, implied that he had a gun, and demanded that she hand over her belongings to him. Less than 3 hours later, police say he struck a woman, sexually assaulted her, and stole her personal property. As a result of this altercation, he was found guilty of burglary and assault and battery, and received only a light sentence of supervised probation. In late January of 2022, Brevard was charged with a probation violation and was actually due back in court early May in connection with that case. So there are obviously a lot of aspects to take into consideration in this case, Brevard's mental health being the most obvious. This also does bring to light the fact that many people do fall through the cracks of our flawed systems. It's apparent that over the years his crimes were escalating and that he most probably didn't receive the care for his mental health issues that he needed. This sadly is commonplace, as our judicial systems are generally overloaded with cases and more often than not incapable of recognizing and providing the care needed to assist with those who suffer from various forms of mental illness. It may be likely that if Brevard had been provided with the resources he needed, instead of being churned through the system and spit out the other side like so many others, that these killings could have been prevented. As this is a complicated case to pick apart, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Do you think the system failed this man? Do you think he may be found unfit to stand trial considering he had been in the past? Or do you think he is completely responsible and should face the same punishment as anyone else in this situation? Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe out there.